welcome back to another episode of The American Entrepreneur, where we interview entrepreneurs all over the United States and even all over the world. But as long as they do business in the USA or planning on doing business, we want to hear their story. Maybe they have something in their life that has happened to them that they can share with you so you can be successful in your own business adventures. Our guest today, his name is Dave Boddy. Looks like he's a TV film writer, actor, author, transformational speaker, and founder of Bodyguards United. So would you please welcome, it seems like he does a lot, and I'm really excited to have him on here, Mr. Dave Boddy. Thanks a lot for being a part of this, Dave.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for the invite. It's early in the morning. I love doing things first thing in the morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So where are you located
at? Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it seems like we're talking to people all over the world, and a lot of people who are entrepreneurial, gifted, I guess you could say, is coming from Canada. I don't know what's going on up there, but it seems like there's a lot of people reaching out from Canada, so that's awesome.
We're actually primarily in Alberta here. We're going through an employment recession, so that might be a motivation that people are getting to actually realize that they got to take financial freedom themselves seriously.
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but something good's happening up there. But anyway, the basic premise of the show is we just want to hear your story. What got you into entrepreneurship? What attracted you to that career path? Because it is one of the most difficult career paths to be on. So what attracted you to it? What business are you in? And maybe something that you've learned along the way that you could share with our guests here.
For sure, yeah. It all started in 2011 when I suffered my 15th severe concussion. Doing security work, I was in brain injury rehab for about several months, and I had to basically restart. I had to learn how to walk again, obtain my balance and verbal, my cognitive ability. I then got diagnosed with permanent brain damage that affects my vision and my cognitive ability. So I had to decide against doing security work and chasing that police dream, but I still wanted to support my community and the youth. So I designed a foundation called Bodyguards United, which is a online community that allows youth from around the world to support other youth. And it all became basically overnight. I had a vision of, you know what, I gotta overcome my brain diagnosis and my ADHD and all the stuff that I dealt with bullying, depression for 16 years, and I dealt with suicide 3 times. And I realized that being a father myself, I had to create basically an empire that would help my family not go through the struggles I went through. And I feel that's the most important motivator for being an entrepreneur is that empire that you want to build one day. And brick by brick, you just keep building it, and soon enough you'll eventually start to feel success. And over the last 5 years, I've been doing a lot of acting, a lot of writing. I've been doing a lot of public speaking. So it stemmed from a pretty brutal part of my life, and dealing with suicide for the 3rd time, 2011. And I always credit my son for that, because being a father saved my life in 2011. So becoming an entrepreneur was something I've always wanted to do. Being that I have ADHD, I've always had the mindset of not conforming and not really following a path that people are going, which is the typical 9-to-5 job. I did that for over 14 years, and I saw no benefits of it. All I saw was my bosses going on vacations and them reaping from my hard work. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done with being told when I can go on vacation, when I can take a break. When my son was hospitalized in 2013 with a collapsed left lung, and my job at the time was pretty displeased with me taking time off, that they let me go. That was an eye opener for me.
Wait, they let you go because you wanted to be with your kid?
Yeah, but basically he had pneumonia and a collapsed left lung, and I took a week off after he got returned to the hospital, and they basically said, we're letting you go due to too much time missed. I'm like, that's fine. You can fire me. It doesn't stop me from being a father. Letting me go, it was actually like a blessing in disguise. Like, ever since that happened, I was like, you know what? I understand the working world now in regards to having a boss and working for a company. It's just, you have no freedom. You're like locked in, and your family has to be forced to put second. And I did that for many years. I put my son and my ex-wife second, and I regret it. So becoming an entrepreneur was something I always wanted to do, but never had the confidence to do it until I got diagnosed with my brain injury and my permanent brain damage. That's when it was an eye opener where it's like, you know what, I gotta do this now. I only have one life to live, and I don't want to live it with regret and just depression, just not happiness. And what made me heal was helping kids and their families heal through the process that I was going through. And becoming an entrepreneur, I felt was the best position to be in to help my community. With my freedom of schedule and basically having the overall freedom.
It's beautiful. Yeah. You know what they always say about entrepreneurs? I've read a lot of reports about how entrepreneurs are difficult people to be with because their business is always at their central focus. Now, that may be so, but what it comes down to is people who are entrepreneurs are just so, I believe, I'm seeing it all across the world, but they're so passionate and driven and they go after what they really want in life. Now, that's always at the forefront of their mind, but the people who are employees and they're not really going after their dreams and they're working 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, even 12 hours a day for a company that they hate. Yeah, maybe they do get home at 7 o'clock at night and they have time to be with their family and maybe they don't think about work, so that might be a good piece, but that's only 2 or 3 hours out of the day that you're able to devote to your family. Don't you want to spend time and build a life, build towards a life that will give you the freedom and able to live out your 30s, 40s, and 50s on your own pace, on your own schedule? Isn't that seems like that's what you're really shooting for? Is that the main mission is just to build towards something that you could either give off to your family or to your kid?
Well, exactly. Like I've developed the mindset being a father that I had to create a lifestyle that my children can benefit from even when I'm gone. So basically, I want them to live off of my legacy. And I figure Bodyguards United, and my son has already spoken about it at his school. Like, so he's basically become like one of my marketers. Like, he goes to school and talks to his kids about what we do. And so like he's very excited. My daughter's the same way. Like, she loves going to her school and just talking about Bodyguards United to the kids and getting them excited. And I realized, you know what? I'm like, I could go work at a warehouse, but at the same time, I can't guarantee that my daughter or my son can work at that warehouse with me. So I can't guarantee that they have a job. And I'm like, that scares me when you can't financially guarantee that your children can pursue what they want. Like, if they want to go to college, I have mixed feelings about college in
Me
regards to,
too. Me too. Me
like,
too.
I just see a lot of success. I see a lot of non-success from college. So it kind of gives you like a mixed perspective of it. But both my kids express that they don't want to go to college. They want to work with bodyguards, and I figured that right there, as a father, is like a mission accomplished, where your children want to follow your lead because you're leading a good example.
Yeah, you just kind of touched on something I want to bring up too is college. So even if you send your kid to a college, but he wants to be an entrepreneur, a degree or a piece of paper doesn't mean anything to the market or to your successes in the future. All it shows you is basically a piece of paper that you have the ability to learn to get a job. And I have nothing
Hmm.
against college. I've been through college. I went to Duquesne University, but I've seen that you know the people who put themselves out there on the line and in front of everybody, what makes them successful is usually failure or being around people who are successful for many years and building towards something over a long period of time. So even if a kid does want to go to college but has an entrepreneurial spirit, it seems like it's two conflicting messages, and it's something that I think without spending the money and going after that college degree, you should kind of do a little soul searching before you make that decision. So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, for sure. Like, I went to college for police and security science, and then recently just for psychology. And I realized that when you go to college, you get a conditioned mindset where you just focus on the education on that one topic. And I'm like, I don't want to be focused on just one topic. I want to learn daily and acquire new knowledge. And I find that when you go to college, it conditions your mentality to not be lazy, but just focus on one thing. And I have a lot of friends who have degrees and masters that are working at retail stores because they lost a passion for what they were aspiring to do. Like, and I find that when people go to college, like my best friend went to college and he dropped out. He's like, it wasn't for me. He's like, I want to be a business owner. And really, like, the business course, I have been told, is actually counterproductive in regards to entrepreneurship. So it's like,
Counterproductive, did you say? Counterproductive.
yeah, it's
Oh man.
counterproductive. Like some of my friends went for the business degree, and they're like, you know what? It taught us some pretty good knowledge, but nothing was entrepreneurial. It was all taxes and just more conditioning. And I find that that's the problem with nowadays society is people don't want to be the entrepreneurship because they're conditioned. You know, they're settled for the 9 to 5. They're settled for what's safe, and it's like, no, you got to exit your comfort zone. Otherwise, you'll be stuck and stagnant.
I've been to many business development courses, classes, things to do with college. I've I've seen, and this is the first day that I would go to these places. Now, I've never really learned too much from them, but maybe structuring of your company. But just what you just touched on there, the first day in some of these business development courses, it'll be okay. So before you begin a business, think about your exit strategy. I'm thinking to myself, what? You're already thinking about leaving before you even have a product that the market wants or is demand, pricing strategy. You don't learn any of that. You're learning about getting out of being an entrepreneur. It doesn't make any sense. So counterproductive to me. I've seen a lot of it. So that's why this show's really to portray the American entrepreneur or any entrepreneur out there that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but the people who keep going and never give up and make the right decisions over time, those are the ones who live a happier lifestyle. That's what I've noticed, and it's contagious. Passion is contagious, and I don't know if you've seen that because entrepreneurs. It seems like if you are in a circle of friends and you start going after what you want, other people will start looking at you and maybe going after what they want. Something like
Oh yeah,
that.
for sure. Like passion is it's like smiles. You know, you show it, people follow. Like one of my favorite sayings is passion is the best conviction. And I find that people in the society nowadays they feel entitled where they want something because they just want it, and then they expect people to give it to you. But it's like, I'm sorry, becoming an entrepreneur means that you accept the fact that you got to earn what you want. You can't just be entitled. And people want support, but they don't work for it. So I tell people, if you want support, you convince them with passion. People love passion. That's why people love true stories, documentaries. People are just naturally gravitated towards the story that led to the glory. And most important, most people are just like, you know what, I'm going to tell people the story, and I'm going to have them, support me in that sense because it's the most realistic way to approach it. So I always share my story of concussions, depression, suicide, and so forth, not for sympathy, but to let people know that, listen, I've been through this. And that's why I've coined my saying of, as long as you are alive, you can adapt and affect change. You're always given that opportunity, but you had to also work for it. Just because I went through my depression and my suicide and all that stuff, I'm not expecting people just to hand stuff to me. It's like I still have that mentality of, no, you got to deserve it. And the best way I find to garner support is to first offer it and also to convince them through your passion.
Yeah, I believe authenticity is one of the big pieces to getting other people to follow your vision. And by you having some dark days and going through it yourself, that those true stories, people can relate to it, and that's how what they get behind it eventually. So what I saw on your Facebook Live, I don't know if you can kind of touch on that too, but it seems to be you were a bodyguard or a security guard, or was it a police officer? I'm not exactly sure, but I saw that you went through some type of maybe it was your 15th concussion, but you were trying to arrest a thief. He gave you concussion, and do you just want to jump into that story because I think that was pretty interesting, and maybe that was what spawned your entrepreneurial risk. I'm not sure, but please tell us the story.
Yeah, for sure. There was actually a lot I covered in that video. Basically, I did security and bodyguard work for several plus years, and it was a passion that I found just out of nowhere. My dad said I needed the job, so I took a job as a security officer, and we had our first physical removal, and I just got hooked. I did professional wrestling. I played football, so I've always been a pretty aggressive guy. But this kind of adrenaline rush was an experience that I am thankful I took because I got 3 concussions in the security industry, and the 15th one was we had an assistance call from the security officer in the theater. He was removing 8, maybe even 9 individuals, and they were just verbally aggressive and very, very verbally aggressive. So we arrived on scene and we tried to, do what's called verbal judo, which is talking the individual down, de-escalating the situation. But they were so high strung and their adrenaline rush was so through the roof that there was no talking to them. And basically what happened was it led to him slapping a girl that he was talking to and then spitting on me. which resulted into a big brawl. And then after that, it's kind of hit or miss with my vision and my memories. But I do remember that when I got the concussion, I was trying to walk to the paramedic unit, but I kept passing out. So they rushed me to the hospital, and that's when they diagnosed me with my 15th severe concussion. I was in a neck brace for over 24 hours and had to get wheelchaired out. And then thankfully, my insurance company here in Canada called WCB, they realized my concussion history was pretty severe. So they delegated and directed me to a professional rehab services for brain injuries. And I was in that for about several months. And during that 7 months, I had to go from being over 360 pounds down to 270. So I had to lose a lot of weight. I had to go through seeing 8 therapists and one psychiatrist. And it was I was going through a divorce at the same time. I lost my job with the security agency I was with. So it was a great eye opener. And that's when I realized, you know what, at that point I think I was 26, and I was like, I'm 26 years old. I've been diagnosed with 4 neck injuries, 4 lower lumbar back injuries, 15 concussions, arthritis in my right shoulder. I was like, I'm done working for other people and my body being put through, pardon, the language, but being put through hell. I was like, if I could go through physical hell or working for someone else, I can go through the mental strain of becoming an entrepreneur and all the risks involved in that. So, the concussions and the security life were great lessons I had to learn. But most importantly, I contribute security to learning how to talk to people. Like I had to de-escalate situations where a guy pulled a knife on me, and I had to verbally de-escalate him to put the knife down and then become submissive and put his hands behind his back.
Oh,
And,
man.
allow himself to be arrested. So like dealing with the public in that sense gave me the comfort to approach anyone to talk about my business, to have them come on to business. So like it gave me a lot of confidence with talking to people because, more often than not, security is looked at as a very minor industry, or it's like, oh, you work at construction sites. I'm like, no. If you're doing what's called a mall cop, which is, working security officers for mall locations, you're dealing with a lot of different people. Like I dealt with schizophrenia. I had people try to commit suicide with me. I had one guy who we approached who was doing heroin, and he like literally pulled the needle from his arm and tried tacking with a needle. So like when I saw these people going through all their struggles, I was like, holy cow, this world it's full of a lot of darkness. And I'm like, if I can create a business where I basically just generate light for people and I just help people out, I'll be set. And that's what I did. Like I put a post yesterday actually on Facebook saying that if your business is just striving to make money and you see clients as dollar bills, you're going to go broke fast. But if you create a business where it's like you generate value and you help people, that legacy you're building it's never going to die.
I believe it, man. Yeah, it's if you just think for yourself, you're not really creating value, and value is all what other people seek, and that's how you get eyeballs, and that's how you get uh, people to look at your business, and that's how you be. It sounds counterintuitive, but you have to give way more before you can even
Mm-hmm.
ask for anything, and that's what I've seen work in anything entrepreneurial. So I believe in that wholeheartedly, man. Now tell me about your business real quick. Tell me, like, do you go outside of Canada? Do you deal with people via Skype or FaceTime, and how do you get clients, and how do people hear about you?
For sure, yeah. Bodyguards United is it's an online community as of right now. Basically, we have kids from around the world, part of what's called the Bodyguards United Heroes program. Basically, what it is, it's a program that allows me to acknowledge and to show the world youths who are like actors, actresses, singers, songwriters, like phenomenal youths, professional athletes who basically share their story and with the intent to inspire worldwide. And we created a show called BU Heroes Live, where every 2 weeks, starting on January 8th, I interview a youth from around the world and just give them an opportunity and a platform to share their story. Like basically Bodyguards is about the kids. It's all about the kids. And you'll be amazed at how many kids out there have stories to share of what they've been through with bullying and terminal illness. I have 2 kids who are part of the program who both have terminal illnesses. I've actually been asked to grant a wish with Make-A-Wish Foundation because of the work I've been doing with the youth and helping them support. So basically, Bodyguards United is
Wow.
all about support. It's all about giving these kids acknowledgement for their overcoming great obstacles. Because, I've been through all my struggles. You've had your struggles. But when you hear about a kid who's going through a terminal illness, it's just like you have to help because you don't know how long they have to live. And once you see death or you experience it yourself and you overcome it, you have this vision, this mindset that you want to live your life helping people no matter what, no labels, no judgments, just help. You don't care about how they became homeless, you just want to help them get away from it. So Bodyguards was created through my personal struggles. I created it with my struggles with depression. So I can relate to people who say that they're going through depression. I can relate to suicide. I can relate to not having money. I can relate to all these problems. So I created a business as a means to just offer people support as much as I can. And in regards to USA, and I've been invited to Iraq, I've been invited to Greece, I've been invited to Russia, I've been invited to all these places to speak because people are gravitating towards Bodyguards because they realize it's not a personal business. It's not Dave Matthew Boddy running Bodyguards United. It's Bodyguards United being ran by the youth. And like people love that. They love selflessness. They love people who are like, you know what? I've been through what you're going through, but you know my story. I want people to know yours. Because I told a fellow entrepreneur friend of mine, Ryan Perez, I was like, people love the story. They don't like to see the glory. They love to hear the story. And we had Angel Berry on our first episode last week, and she's a 14-year-old Canadian award-winning actress who's been through so much bullying, but she's doing phenomenal. And when people heard her story, it inspired them because she's only 14 years old and she's so successful. So Bodyguards Unite is all about inspiration. Our slogan is United Through Inspiration because basically we just bring people on and we share their stories. And then what happens is we actually can be invited to speak publicly live. Like I inducted two individuals, Connor and Angel, and both of them are going to come with me to the Make-A-Wish Foundation event to speak. So we're giving these kids professional platforms to publicly speak, and it's just an amazing experience how it's evolved from 2011 till now, from a Facebook page to now it's worldwide recognition, and I'm getting calls to say, hey, bring these BU heroes, bring these kids to talk.
Oh
So
my
like
God, that's
I
gotta feel
love
good
it.
though, and just to see it live. I mean, to see somebody who's 14 years old who went through a hard time. Just think about the personal development those kids are going through. That they're able to take that experience and just keep building upon it every time they speak in front of people. So,
Exactly. Like there's no better feeling in success than seeing someone you've helped say thank you. Like I said on Instagram a while ago, I was like, people build success for other people. Like it doesn't matter what your career is, your goal is, you need people support. Like if you are becoming an entrepreneur and you think that you can just rely on your name and you'll succeed, you're gonna fail quickly. Because it's like you got to bring clients in, but don't look at them as clients. Look at them as people. Like don't label them. When people say how are your clients, I'm like I don't have clients. I have supporters. I have people who are part of Bodyguard United who basically make the business run for me. I'm like, but I don't ever look at people as clients because as soon as you label someone as a client, they feel, what's the word? They just feel like they're being used. But at the same time, it's like when I have a person come to me and say, listen, I want to hire bodyguards, I'm like, that's fantastic. I'll bring the use, we'll come speak and we'll add value to your life. And then, whatever you need us to help you with, we'll help you with. But I'm not going to be like looking at you as a client or as a dollar bill. I'm like, I look at you as someone who is hiring me in my use just to inspire you. And that's why I love the business of Bodyguards United and the business of public speaking is because all you do is add value. Every single time you go somewhere and speak live, you're adding value to someone's life, even if it's only one person. So like if you were asking me any advice to an upcoming entrepreneur, I say put your ego to the side. Like you cannot run a business with an ego. Like you'll go broke fast. People will see how fake you are. They'll see how ingenuine you are, and they'll just not want to work with you or do business with you. So it's like you can't start a business until you understand that business has to be for the people, not for you.
yeah, I believe in. I in a past interview I talked about how business is a marathon rather than a sprint. And I think if you look at it in the short term, people just look at the let me get the money and go. And that is such a recipe for failure that people don't see that until it's too late. And so whenever you get into business, not only do you have to provide value, but you have to provide value for an extended amount of time. You have to devote your entire life to it and build it brick by brick. So eventually, years from now, you'll have supporters. I love the way you put that, where It's not, they're not clients, they're supporters. And I think of all the people who signed up to my program early on, I don't want to look at them as somebody who's beneath me. I want to help them on the same level. It's where they're with me in this adventure. We're all, every day, no matter who you are, you're learning something every day if you're around the right people. So there is no perfect know-it-all person. There's something for them to learn also. And I believe, even you want to call them supporters, they have something to teach even the mentor or the coach. So you can't look at it as just a client. It's a good way to put it, man. I really like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, like in regards to the patience and lack of for individuals who want to become entrepreneurs, it's, people are still being conditioned. Like with Netflix, it's instant results, instant baking. Like the society is building all these instant results with all these new technology, and now people are becoming conditioned where they want things instantly. It's no longer, okay, you know what, I gotta wait. And I tell people like all the time, you gotta spend at least 2 years minimum to focus on success. It's not gonna be overnight. Like I wish, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, oh, it's all about hard work. But of course, when I started creating bodyguards, I wish I had overnight success. I wish I had it, but at the same time, I'm glad I didn't, because it conditioned me to be resilient, to have to work for something, and not just like, all right, I started it, it's successful, I'll walk away. Because there's no sentimental value when you're just given something. Like you have to work your ass off to gain that sentiment, because that sentiment is what drives you. Like when I look back, holy cow, it's 2016. I started this 5 years ago, and I'm just starting to see success now. But I've done it in a way where like I said, I've created supporters, not clients. So I'm thankful for all the hard work I had to put in. Because honestly, if I had overnight success, bodyguards probably would have died within a week, because you just don't have that sentimental attachment to it. It's like, for example, kids. If you buy your kids something, they'll most likely break within a week, because they don't understand the sentimental attachment to the hard work that you did to get them that gift. But like with my kids, I'll give them allowances. I'll say, hey, you now have worked hard for this product. Go buy it. I
Oh, that's
guarantee
good
you they'll take care of it. They will take care of that product so much, because they understand that they had to work hard to get it. And that's what people don't understand nowadays. They just want quick results, and it's like, no, I'm sorry. Like if you actually go into becoming an entrepreneur with the mindset of an overnight success, you're going to fail. And then you're going to blame society. You're going to blame the people who didn't support you. Well, did you convince them through passion? Did you actually work your ass off to get their support? Probably not. Like you got to work. Like you got to put in the 12 hours. When people, I put a post last week saying, while my family is asleep, I'm out building their empire, because I want them to rest, because I'm the father. It's that old school father figure where you're the breadwinner. And I know when I see my kids and they like, oh, daddy's on TV, because I've been on so many TV shows, and I've made so many appearances. I'm like, when I see my kids so happy when I achieve my dreams, it's such an inspiration to know that they are being raised with the fact that they know my daddy has been through so much depression, because they know everything about me. Like I've been honest with my kids about my depression and my concussion, so they know what I've been through. And people are saying, oh, you shouldn't be that honest with kids. Well, I'm sorry. I can't raise my children to be honest while I'm being dishonest to them. So they know everything about my struggles. So now when they see me successful, it inspires my kids to be like, you know what? I have a dream. I can do it. And that's why I say passion is the best conviction for entrepreneurs. You got to gain your supporters by showing them that you're legit. Because, like, can you imagine being someone who offers someone support and they just waste it? It just pisses you off.
exactly.
Time is not refundable. So when I give you my support, I'm giving you my time. So don't freaking waste it on me. And I feel that when people are like, I want quick results, you're wasting my support. So I'm not going to support you.
That's a good
Like,
way to put it. Yeah.
yeah, don't waste my damn time, and I won't waste yours. And I think that people don't have that mindset of patience. It's, well, I can go home, I can turn my Netflix on, and I can find a TV show. Well, let's be honest. When you are on Netflix, it takes a while to find that TV show, because you have so many selections. But when you do, it's instant. You can play it, no commercials. You can pause it. You can pay now with tapping your bank card, which I think is so illogical security wise, but it's a quick convenience. Just tap your card, pay. And now they have the feature where you can deposit checks from your cell phone just by taking a picture. Like, it's, people are being conditioned to be lazy, but they don't understand it. So when they become an entrepreneur, they quit, because it's not instant. And it's like, well, I've been doing bodyguards since 2011, and I'm just seeing success now. But that's because I took 5 years to build the business plan, to build the professionalism, and to build a conviction. Like, you can't get support if you're not convincing them, because people understand that their time is money, and they ain't giving you any time if you can't actually convince them first.
Now, besides the perseverance and patience, what was the number one way you were able to make it work or find speaking gigs or find the right people? Was it word of mouth? Was it social media? Was it a speaking gig that put you in a different room with somebody else? Was it something that you did that made you more successful than, let's just say, putting your head down and just going full force? Was there one main ingredient that you think that really helped you in this?
Yeah, for sure. I will always contribute discomfort. And what I mean by that is I was in my comfort zone for so many years. I was scared to take risks. I was scared to meet people. I was scared to network. But then I started producing a TV show with Shaw that was, for youth empowerment. It was a YouTube, or sorry, it was a TV interview series show, and
Something like
I
this?
was the producer.
Something like this? Where we just
No,
interview?
yeah, it was basically it was kind of like it was on an actual TV station. We had a beautiful set, and it was every Tuesday. The first season was what's called record to edit, which means you record it and you can edit it. And the second season we went live. When we went live, it was so stressful. We had people showing up late. Like, it was an eye opener to how really respectable people are who are reliable can be. But like, I was so uncomfortable. I didn't. The first time I publicly spoke was to 900 kids, and I was so nervous. But I overcame that because I realized I had to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I tell people, I'm like, you have to take those risks. You have to step outside your boundaries, because being in your comfort zone now has you where you're at. And if you're not happy where you're at, well, being comfortable is exactly what you shouldn't be doing. So you have to be uncomfortable, and I put myself in so many different uncomfortable ways. Speaking publicly live to 900 kids, producing a live television series with absolutely no degree or education in producing, but I just learned it through Google. I'm not going to lie to you, Google has so much education out there that you can become self-taught. But the problem with Google, I find, is now we have all these uneducational geniuses with Google, where they think because they read an article they're now genius. Like, I spent years studying producing via YouTube and Google Education. That's another shot towards college. You can actually go to Google and get the education you want for free, as opposed to paying 20 to 30 grand.
20,
Side
30
note.
grand a year. Yeah, 20, 30 grand a year.
Exactly. Like, it's brutal, but yeah, I would definitely contribute discomfort. Like, all the confidence I've garnered was through overcoming the feeling of being uncomfortable, the feeling of being vulnerable, the feeling of I can be judged because I'm probably gonna fail this, but I don't like give a crap. Like, I just don't give a shit. Like, you can judge me for failing, but guess what? You're never gonna judge me because I quit. Like, I'm constantly failing, I'm constantly learning, and I'm constantly moving forward. And people have this fear that when they fail, they're going to be judged. Yeah, you are. But most importantly, you got to realize that when you get judged by someone for failing in a dream, it's most likely the source of someone who is not chasing one. So you got to take it from the source. If a friend of mine who's not chasing his dream says, "Oh, Dave, you failed again," yeah, of course you're going to see that as a permanent failure, because you're not chasing your dream, you're not sacrificing, you're not doing anything to move forward. You're conditioned to stay stagnant. So any of my failures, you won't understand. But with my entrepreneur friends and my tight circle friends, they know, okay, you know what, you failed, keep going. So, like, you got to associate with people who are like-minded, who are driven. Otherwise, the top five people you're around are going to bring you down. And people don't understand that. Like, they don't understand the value association is detrimental to success. They
Oh
don't
my God,
understand it.
for sure, for sure. You surround yourself with the wrong people, the people who are discouragers and not encouragers. One of my guests even said that there's two different people out there, the encouragers and discouragers. And if you do not surround yourself with encouragers, you're going to be in that comfort zone for the rest of your life. And then at 80, 90 years old, you're going to regret it that you didn't take that jump outside of it, because at the end of the day, it's your life, it's not theirs. And you have to put yourself in a circle of go-getters and people who have done it. Or people who really want to do it. That's part of the big pieces of mentorship. I always think you have to find mentors. Now, I didn't really grow up in an area where there was a lot of mentors who have done it and made it really to that level that I wanted to. And it seems like nowadays, with Skype, with YouTube, with all the social media sites, you can find all your mentors right then and there on your phone. And that's why I think this is going to be successful. Is that
Instantly.
the people who you look up to, or you can learn instantly. Yeah,
Instantly.
you can find them like that, and you can collaborate with them on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you're gonna love this saying. Now I created this quote because I lived opposite of it for my whole life, and the quote is, external inspiration is useless without internal motivation. And what that means is you can find all the external inspiration you want, unless you're motivated inside, internally, it's useless. And I think that that's what people have issues with nowadays. They don't know how to direct the inspiration internally, where they just go, "Oh, I just watched this based on true story, and I'm inspired, but I don't know how to motivate myself." So it's like people have that inspiration everywhere, but they don't know how to motivate themselves because they spend so much time believing in others' success that they forget to realize, you know what? I can be my own superhero. I can be whoever I want to be, but I got to have that motivation without, or sorry, I had to have that motivation within me first before I can even begin to be inspired. And it's like the motto of you can't help the person who doesn't want to be helped. Well, you can't inspire the person who can't motivate themselves. It's brutal. Like when I did youth coaching for so many years, I spoke to so many youths that were so inspiring, but they couldn't do anything because they weren't motivated. They were so depressed. They were so within the dark that no matter how much light you gave them, they just stuck there. And, unfortunately, some of the kids I couldn't further on with coaching because it got to the point where I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're just not motivated enough yourself. So, I would just back off a little bit, give them some space. And that space was what gave them the realization of, holy cow, like I got to have the internal motivation before I can have the external inspiration. So you can go on YouTube and you can go on Google and even Snapchat, for Pete's sake. People are using that for motivational speaking, but you can have all that access to all that inspiration, but unless you have the motivation inside you, it's going to be useless.
Right.
So, you got to have that motivation to want to change and realize, you know what, I hate to say it, but, studying psychology, I understand at the same time that you have to hold yourself accountable before you can mature. And the problem is people are spending so much time saying, oh, it's the economy. I'm sorry. Yes, in Canada, we're going through a recession right now. But at the same time, the contradiction is, even if people are going through a recession, they're going to pay for what's valuable. So you can still make money in recession if you value the content you're giving to the people that you want to support you. So, like, you can overcome anything with passion and convince people of your passion. Like, we're going through a recession right now in Canada. It's bad. Like, people are being laid off and fired, but people will still spend money on what they value. So you can still make money.
For sure. I always believe, and I was a finance major in school, and I've always seen this, but where there is a recession, where there's a decline, and even with my entrepreneurial adventures, where there's adversity or some type of problem, always there is opportunity. That means there's something that you could do different that you haven't been doing that could make you even more successful than you were. Or if there's a recession, there's a chance for you to invest in something that once it does pick back up, it'll make you wealthier than before. And I believe that anytime there's adversity, anytime there's a decline of something, there's opportunity. So I think that's kind of what you're hinting on there. I love that,
yeah,
that mentality.
And don't expect it instantly. It's not Netflix.
Beautiful, man.
Success is not Netflix.
If there's any way for them to reach out to you via email, a phone number, or a website, just one last time, if they want to hire you for a speaking gig, either in Canada or the United States, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, I am literally everywhere. I'm a huge supporter of social media. I love it. So you can find me on Instagram at Dave M. Boddy, Twitter at DaveBoddy86, Facebook at facebook.com/official-DaveBoddy. Or if you want to follow bodyguards, you can go to facebook.com/bodyguardsunited. And then there's also a Facebook page for my interview series, which is where I interview all the kids, which is facebook.com/BUHeroesLive. And I'm available via email at davebody86@gmail.com.
Love it. Love
I
it.
am everywhere.
Beautiful. I'm going to check you out on the Twitter. I don't think I'm following you on there, but I think I am on Instagram.
Oh, you
so.
better follow me there, buddy. You better follow me there.
Will do, man. Will do. Hey, thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm going to contact you afterwards. Maybe we'll do some type of speaking gig sometime soon together.
Sure, I'm down.
Cool. That works?
Perfectly.
Beautiful, man. Hey, thank you very much. And I really appreciate your story. It seems like you do help out a lot of kids, and I think that that's something people neglect until it's too late. So well done, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of The American Entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur out there that has a story, anything you want to share with people that can take something from your life and maybe apply it to their own business and be successful, we want to hear it. And remember, guys, the American entrepreneur will always create more. Thanks, guys.